Hey, why don't we name a movie after the thing that parents say to their kids to soften the blow of their pet dying? Sorry, honey, Mittens crossed over the Rainbow Bridge. What, not enough bad vibes for you? I know. Let's make a movie that capitalizes on Hendrix's still warm corpse. Come on, people now. It's Rainbow Bridge! Rainbow Bridge is a film from 1971, directed by Chuck Wayne. Is it a narrative, a documentary, surrealistic fiction, realistic nonfiction, post-irony? Yes! No. The basic premise follows one character as they travel to Maui and they encounter various shamanistic types, hippies, UFO conspiracists, people doing Tai Chi. These characters simply enter the movie without being properly introduced, start talking, and then simply exit the movie. In fact, in one particularly uninspired scene, the camera, seemingly bored, just veers off to the window and then two characters just pop into the frame like you would at the beginning of one of my reviews. So, who were the people involved in the making of this train wreck and why were they allowed to do it? Well, the director was one Chuck Wayne, whose only claim to fame is inserting himself into the Andy Warhol universe by way of dating Edie Sedgwick and then subsequently introducing her to Andy Warhol. Now, he did direct a couple of Andy Warhol's experimental films, but to be fair, it's probably just, 7 hours of a guy eating a banana while taking a dump. And that's all he really did of note, because the one movie he made is certainly not worth making a video about. The film only began development after Jimi Hendrix's co-manager Michael Jeffrey was looking for a sizable paycheck and got it from Warner Brothers after he promised to deliver a film that would feature a Jimi Hendrix soundtrack. And Hendrix wanted nothing to do with this movie. What movie? Is this even a movie? All right, enough. Let's stop fooling around. Let's get right into this movie. It begins with a monologue for several agonizing minutes over a completely blank screen.
The space people have already established regular routes to the U.S. And what are you doing the makers as society of this film disintegrates, who are energized pick up the with pieces? Them? Are in young torch to finish the relay race.
All right, I already hate this fucking thing. You're not the Ten Commandments, you're not even Zardoz. This is the sort of false sense of importance that could only come from a movie in the early 70s, and the sort of smugged self-assuredness that could only come from a YouTube reviewer in 2025. The opening reeks of a post-production trying desperately to find a narrative in all the randomly shot images. In fact, the director was quoted as saying, "We're just going to shoot a lot of film and then see what comes out of it." Wow. How incredibly literal, transparent, and wasteful. The look of the movie, it just looks like dog crap. It's completely flat and amateurish, and it's filled with that unnecessary jarring editing that a lot of movies of this era started to do. It's hard to describe what goes on in this movie without just showing you a couple of clips. Wow. Just incredible. How did they find footage of me when I was 5 years old, too scared to ride a wave that's more than 3 feet tall? Long stretches of this film are so clearly padded out, whether or not the dialogue is even decipherable. And we're not just using B-roll, maybe more B-roll than we need to. No, we're using every last bit of film that was shot. This reminds me of being in group projects in film school, and you get an assignment to make a 3-minute video, and then some groups would return with 3 minutes of footage. Now, there exists several different cuts of the film. I believe the original theatrical cut was a punishing hour and 45 minutes. I myself have only watched the version that's just over 2 hours, because when life treats you well, sometimes you don't have to treat yourself so well back. Lightweights who value their sanity and time might want to check out the version on Internet Archive that runs for about 80 minutes and looks like a 5th generation copy that somebody peed on. This movie several times had me going, I'm only 25 minutes into this?
You think they want you to know that your car doesn't have to wear out? That you don't need medicine?
Who is this guy? I hate this guy. Can someone just shoot this guy?
And you can be.
Hendrix, no! What are you doing? So that just happened in the movie? He just killed him? Also, they don't seem to be a very qualified meditation center if their exercises include this. And this. Possibly the greatest crime of this movie is not introducing Hendrix until an hour and 20 minutes into the movie, and then another 13 minutes until the concert footage starts. And I swear there's a shot in the movie where Hendrix looks around kind of puzzled and suspicious, as if to say, "Are you filming me right now? Are you making a movie?" The only reason this movie hasn't been completely forgotten is that it culminates in about 20 minutes of concert footage at the end. We never really get to see enough footage of Mitch Mitchell and Billy Cox as they're playing. I think Mitch Mitchell is one of the most underrated drummers of all time. Billy Cox is actually very underrated too. He was certainly miles ahead of Noel Redding's bass playing. So let's be honest, man. This movie was marketed at the time, and probably still is, as the Hendrix concert movie, and yet it cobbles together maybe 18 minutes of footage. So there's movies from this era that are extremely of their time and maybe weren't appreciated when they first came out, but have since undergone some critical reappraisals, such as Zabriskie Point, which personally I still think that movie sucks a butt. Then there's movies that you kind of know aren't good movies, but there's a nostalgia factor there, or it's just a fun timepiece. Maybe you want to watch a movie with prehistoric women in that. Nothing wrong with that, buddy. But this one isn't really bad enough to laugh at consistently. It's more incredibly frustrating and dull and boring. It should also be mentioned that there was a documentary that came out about 5 years ago about the making of Rainbow Bridge, but you know what? I've already wasted so much time of my life talking and thinking about this movie. I don't think my little heart can take it. I don't know about you folks, but this whole experience has left me wanting to vote for Reagan, join Wall Street, and say inane things like, "You can't spell crap without rap." Love each other, care for each other, and don't let unqualified friends throw away $450,000 making a crappy movie. Peace, baby. Stay sexy.